Welcome back to Top 5. Michael Juskin. At the age of 100, Michael Juskin committed a horrific act when he killed his wife, Rosalia, with an axe in April 2015. Suffering from dementia, Juskin's mental state had deteriorated, leading to a tumultuous home life. Witnesses described a marriage filled with domestic issues, and shortly after the murder, he took his own life, leaving behind a tragic legacy of violence and confusion. 12. Baba Anuchka. In the late 19th century, Baba Anuchka operated as a so-called healer in the Yugoslavian village of Vladimirovac. However, her remedies were laced with arsenic and other fatal toxins, leading to the deaths of an estimated 150 people who sought her help. Arrested at the age of 90, she received a 15-year sentence but was released at 98, living 2 more years before passing away at 100, a chilling reminder of the dark side of trust and healing. 11. Leonardo Cianciulli. Between 1939 and 1940, Italian serial killer Leonardo Cianciulli, known as La Saponificatrice di Correggio, killed 3 women as human sacrifices to break a family curse. After suffering numerous miscarriages and losing many of her children, she turned to the occult, believing that human sacrifices would protect her surviving offspring. In a gruesome twist, she dismembered her victims and turned their remains into soap and tea cakes, chillingly noting that her final victim made excellent soap. Cianciulli was sentenced to 30 years in prison. 10. Kevin Gavin. In January 2021, 66-year-old Kevin Gavin was arrested for the murders of 3 elderly women. His first victim, 82-year-old Myrtle McKinney, was killed in 2015, followed by 2 more victims in 2019 and 2021. Working as a handyman in the same housing complex as his victims, Gavin claimed they owed him money for his services. His arrest came after he used the debit card of his latest victim, revealing a disturbing motive rooted in financial disputes. 9. Tamara Samsonova. Dubbed the Granny Ripper, Tamara Samsonova's story is one of the most chilling. Suspected of murdering her husband in 2000, she later killed her roommate, Valentina Ulanova, in 2015 at the age of 68. It is believed that she may have killed up to 13 people throughout her life, with many of her victims being tenants in her apartment. Her case embodies the terrifying notion of an elderly person harboring dark secrets. 8. Sandra Lane. On May 18, 2012, 75-year-old Sandra Lane shot her own grandson, 17-year-old Jonathan Hoffman, in a shocking act of familial violence. Jonathan had been living with his grandmother after his parents moved out of state, and the aftermath of the shooting led to a trial that resulted in a 20 to 40-year prison sentence for Lane. The case revealed the potential for violence even among those who are meant to provide care and love. 7. Melissa Ann Shepard. A career criminal from Canada, Melissa Ann Shepard's descent into murder began with the suspicious death of her second husband, Gordon Stewart, in 1991, when she ran him over with her car, claiming self-defense. However, doubts surrounded her story, leading to a manslaughter conviction at age 57. Her violent history continued with the mysterious death of her third husband in 2001 and an attempt on her fourth husband's life, culminating in a 2012 conviction that saw her sentenced to 3.5 years in prison at age 77. 6. Ray and Faye Copeland. Throughout the late 1980s, Ray and Faye Copeland ran a personal farm in Missouri, where they lured drifters with false promises, only to kill them after cashing in on bad checks. Their body count ranges from 5 to 12, and they became the oldest couple in American history to be sentenced to death at ages 76 and 69, respectively. Their case is a chilling reminder of how evil can manifest in the guise of a loving partnership. 5. Andrea Gopner. In July 2016, German authorities arrested Andrea Gopner after discovering 8 dead babies in her apartment. Gopner admitted to killing several of the children, claiming she couldn't remember how many. She suffocated each baby that moved or cried after giving birth alone at home, hiding their bodies in plastic bags. Charged with 4 counts of murder, she was sentenced to 14 years in prison, a haunting case that reveals the depths of maternal depravity. 4. Samuel Little. Samuel Little is recognized as the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history, with confirmed murders of at least 60 women and suspected killings upwards of 93. His crime spree spanned over 30 years, from 1970 to 2005, and he continued to evade capture until his arrest in 2012 at the age of 72. Little's chilling confessions and the sheer scale of his crimes paint a horrific picture of a man who inflicted unimaginable pain on vulnerable victims. 3. Dorothea Puente. Known as the Death House landlady, Dorothea Puente operated a boarding house in Sacramento, where she killed several of her tenants. After disposing of their bodies, she cashed their Social Security checks, leading to her conviction for 3 homicides, although her total body count is believed to be 9. Her arrest in 1988 revealed a shocking betrayal of trust, as she preyed on those seeking shelter and care, ultimately receiving a life sentence in prison at the age of 64. 2. Albert Fish. At the top of this grim list is Albert Fish, a name that evokes sheer horror. Known by various nicknames like the Werewolf of Wisteria and the Gray Man, Fish was a notorious criminal who solely targeted young people. He killed at least 3 children, but the true number could be much higher. Fish once claimed that he had children in every state, an eerie proclamation that conjures nightmares. His last suspected victim was 17-year-old Benjamin Collings, whom Fish may have killed in December 1932 at the age of 62. He was finally apprehended 2 years later at 64, leaving behind a legacy of terror that continues to haunt the collective memory. 1. Amelia Dyer. At the top of this list is Amelia Dyer, known as the Baby Farmer. Dyer is believed to have killed over 400 infants during her 20 years of operating as a baby farmer in Victorian England. Initially neglecting the children until they died, she eventually resorted to murder to maximize her profits. While police confirmed only 1 victim, evidence suggested that many more had perished under her care. Dyer was sentenced to death by hanging in 1896, leaving behind a legacy of horror that solidifies her as one of the most disturbing figures in the history of crime.